on the nature of this supplying. That's, I think, what the difference is. We've finally seen a new idea that works. So separate from the entity that's doing it, right now there's one, because everyone else said don't, or we don't support you, or you can't do it, or yes, we want aid to go in, but not by those guys. It is now undeniable. This is the format that works. And others, now it's an open dynamic of what it is that's making it work. Others should implement it. Others should come in. There is no excuse to stand on the sidelines either because of envy or because of a political consideration, because all of this transcends those things. It's about feeding people, feeding those children. And this is a dynamic, obviously, that works, and we hope will continue to work. Saeed.
Thank you, Tammy. Two quick things.
Yes, sir.
On Albanese,
yes.
On the timing of imposing these sanctions, does it have anything to do with her tweet the day before that basically, slamming Greece, France, and Italy for allowing Netanyahu's plane over their airspace when they are signatories to the Rome Protocol? I mean, she's talking about technical things. Did that have anything to do with it?
No, this has been, and it's a good question because it highlights that this is not an action based on one action or one thing. This has been a long-term issue. And what I will say to you is today, and just more details, the United States is imposing sanctions on UN Human Rights Council Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese for her abuse of that role to directly engage in ICC actions against Israeli officials. In recent weeks, she has also targeted U.S. companies in an unacceptable campaign of political and economic warfare. As the President's Executive Order, EO 14203, makes clear, the ICC's actions set a dangerous precedent for lawfare that endangers our national security and foreign policy and infringes on the sovereignty of the United States. The President declared a national emergency under the EO that emphasizes, quote, the United States will impose tangible and significant consequences on those responsible for the ICC's transgressions, which would include blocking of property and visa restrictions. The United States will take whatever actions we deem necessary and appropriate to protect our sovereignty, to protect Israel, and any other U.S. ally from illegitimate actions by the ICC. That's why that occurred.
Okay, and one quick follow-up on Tom's West Bank thing. Now, we have seen really, a spike in settler violence in the West Bank. And, whether it's in places like Masafer Yatta, where they basically, there was a big film about it and so on that won the Oscar and so on, but also in other places, in the Jordan Valley and so on. And my question, who is in the State Department following up on these incidents? I mean, how do people, including Palestinian Americans that live in my village, for instance, some of my relatives and so on, who do they go to when they say we have been subject of attack by settlers and so on?
Well, obviously, first of all, Israel, of course, it's the government of Israel who they go to. Israel is an ally. But when you say who in this building works on this, I'm going to answer that.
Yeah, okay.
This is, and I've said this before, a lot of people don't know how the State Department works. It's not a bunch of people in suites, typing things down. Some people are. I do that sometimes, but I don't have a suite. But it's thousands of people, you guys.
Right.
It is thousands of people in bureaus that are assigned to regions who work literally, and they have, people assigned different times of the day and the night, who are working all the time looking at the nature of what's occurring all around the world based on where their region might be. And of course, this region, involving, of course, the Middle East, is very busy. I see them almost every day. And during the briefing days, we sit down and I get briefed by these people, these experts, who watch everything that's happening, who are talking to everyone, who know what's occurring, who know where the policy is moving, who know what the secretary is thinking, or at least what his trajectory might be. I then blend into that with what I know from leadership as I work in this building. So when we say, who cares? The American people care. The State Department cares as a collection of the American people who have committed to this work specifically, which is not easy and does not make anyone rich, because they care about the country and they care about what happens around the world in the relationship of making sure America stays safer, more secure, and more prosperous. That's who cares, and that's who's working on it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, right there behind.
Okay, so,
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Sammy. Just a follow-up on Saeed's question as well. Is the Office of the U.S. Security Coordinator in Jerusalem still working under General Michael Flynn, I believe? And because recently there were a few reports indicating that there was a visit to Noor Shams refugee camps.
Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. This is moving into gossip and a report or reports of something. We can save everyone's time because we're moving out of my time. I will not comment on things that you've seen in a paper somewhere or reports of wanting gossip or my speculation. That won't happen. I will have it taken back, your question, in the event there's something we can get to you. But
Please,
we're going to move on from that.
yes,
Yes, sir, go
just
ahead.
a quick follow-up.
No, we are going on. That was your chance, sir. No, sir, right there.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank you,
thank you.
Tammy. On the optimism expressed by the administration on the potential ceasefire in Gaza, and
Yes.
particularly the distribution of humanitarian aid,
Yes.
are there plans in place to stop the firing on Palestinians trying to get that aid?
Well, you know, if we've been demanding for a long time, there's one group there, it's just horrible, that will not stop shooting people or lay down their weapons. Hamas. They could lay down their weapons. There are fewer of them, we will have to admit, since the beginning of this war. And they also won't release the hostages. So part of the ceasefire plan, of course, you have a ceasefire when people stop shooting. So if we're looking at the nature of if there's a plan in that framework, and also, of course, what Secretary Rubio has noted, that there is no place in the future for Hamas. Hamas should not exist. It cannot exist. So in that context, yes, the firing on anyone who is attempting, who's an innocent civilian, who's attempting to get something or just living their lives, the Gazan people have been the first victims of this horror, as they have been controlled for generations by Hamas, by terrorists, by those who don't care about them. So the peace that President Trump wants and Secretary Rubio is working for aims, to say the least, of ending that across the board, no matter who might be doing it, but certainly those who are controlling that framework now and the ones with the weapons, and that would be Hamas. Yes, at the end of the row here.
Anthony Mershak from MTV Lebanon.
Right,
so
welcome
we're
aboard.
asking about
Thank you, sir.
Beirut. Could you please clarify the Special Envoy Tom Barak recent comment stating that Hezbollah has a political wing? Had the U.S. position changed regarding the distinction between Hezbollah's political and military branches?
I have a few things I can say to you. First of all, our position has not changed. Hezbollah is a designated terrorist organization, and we do not distinguish between its political or armed wings. As Ambassador Barak said while in Beirut, Lebanon must utilize this moment to make progress, and that includes progress on disarming Hezbollah.